Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to our podcast, The Demolition Dungeon here. Today's book, fortunately, got it done almost in a month. We're reading this time Dungeon Crawler Carl, and this is my pick. This is my pick this time, and I hope everybody had a great time with this one. Should I read a blurb? Should I read a little? I asked Cody this. Should I read a blurb of my book instead of going over the whole plot like we did last time? I'm gonna read a blurb.
Read the blurb.
I'm for blurbs. I'm for blurbs now.
Read the back.
I'm gonna read this on Goodreads because Cody advertises that up the ass. So we're gonna read this. Here we go. The apocalypse will be televised. A man, his ex-girlfriend's cat, a sadistic game show unlike anything in the universe, a dungeon crawl where survival depends on killing your prey in the most entertaining way possible. In a flash, every human erected construction on Earth, from Buckingham Palace to the tiniest of shreds, collapse in a heap, sinking to the ground. The buildings and all the people inside have been atomized and transformed into the dungeon, an 18th level labyrinth filled with traps, monsters, and loot. A dungeon so enormous it circles the entire globe. You can't just survive here. You gotta survive big. You gotta fight with vigor, with excitement. You gotta make them stand up and cheer. And if you do have that it factor, you may just find yourself with a following. That's the only way to truly survive in this game. There you go. There's a blurb for you. They call it Dungeon Crawler World, but for Carl, it's anything but a game. Oh, that just set the tone for the whole book.
Wow.
That's
It's like
pretty
I'm right
bang on.
back there.
What? I'm so
pretty bang
happy
on.
that
I like
I
it.
got to pick a book that I actually enjoyed. Spoiler alert! I
Would you like to
this
start?
one. Sure. You know what? I'll start. I'll go. So, for anyone who cares, this is a series. So I picked the first in the series, and the 7th book just came out 2 weeks ago. This of recording this video, March 10th. And while they don't do halves on Goodreads, I would give the first book a 4.5, and then every book on probably a 5. Maybe the second one 4.5, but every book from the first one 5. First book though 4.5 for me. But you can't do that on Goodreads, so 4. I'd give it 4.
That's pretty good.
No, I
Is
like
that your
it.
highest
It's
you've
great.
ever given?
A book probably.
Yeah.
I think
On here, at least.
on this. No, I gave Lonesome Dove before. I think I gave Lonesome Dove.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So tied with Lonesome Dove, definitely a different type of humor. I don't know,
Pretty different,
maybe different, but not so. I mean, obviously, it's a lot. In the book, is a lot more explicit, which is my cup of tea. Don't get me wrong, but no, I very much enjoyed this book. But it's not just funny, it's got its moments too. But I'm excited to hear what you guys got to say about my pick. I am giddy. I'm actually the happy one for this time. I'm usually miserable in all these, so I get to be the happy guy on the sidelines. So go ahead, take it away, anybody. I want to hear what you guys think of this book.
Arjun, what did you think?
Yeah, let's hear from Arjun.
Hey, should we read over the scale again? I forgot.
Yeah,
Go
let's do
ahead.
that. Let's
Yeah, I
do
know
that.
you love the scale. Go hit them up.
Well,
bud.
1's did not like it. 2 is it was okay. 3 is liked it. 4 is really liked it. And 5 is it was amazing.
I'm at a 4.5. Just a reminder, 4.5.
Just before it was amazing.
I think I started at a 4 and then I think I went down to like a 3.5, but I'll just go down to 3 maybe. It's still good though, I think. I enjoyed it. I think the first half I liked more than the second half. The comedy really hits for me. The combat or like any fight encounters or anything like of that nature. I just don't really like reading that kind of stuff, so yeah, I'd say a 3.
No, it's hard. It's hard to do fighting in books. I feel. I'll give you that.
I'm gonna
What about you,
volunteer, Shawn.
I had the exact opposite experience.
Whoa!
I went into it with, I wouldn't say low hopes, but I was just like, I don't know. Because I read the blurb and the humor. Reading the little like the plot in the back, the humor does not hit for me at all. And the first probably 2 chapters, I was just like, oh, like the book started and he's just like, oh, it reminds me of one of those. I'm here in my pajamas in a war-torn country. You might ask how I got here. I hate that.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the intro at all. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be rough. And then, like, by the 4th chapter, I was like, in it. I go to 4. I really liked it. A very strong 4. By the end, my biggest complaint is that there's a big cliffhanger. So I was like, I got to the end and I was like, oh, I have to read more. I have to get the next book. So I'm probably going to continue the series. I actually really enjoyed it.
That's a good thing.
That's
Yeah.
good. Thing.
All right,
I thought it was super fun.
It's a good endorsement.
I think it definitely, you know, and I noticed like every series, but I really think it just, the more you go in, the better it gets because it just develops these ideas.
It's a very easy read. I read the first few chapters and then I ended up switching to audiobook because it was just easier to listen to when I was doing stuff. But it's like it's fun. I don't like the achievement thing.
Oh my
that
god,
they
I
do.
love that.
I love the achievement thing.
No, I really don't like it.
Oh,
It was fine like the first time, but then it's constant, and they do it right to the end, and
They
I didn't
do.
like it. It
It
adds,
never slows up.
yeah, it's too long. At least audio wise, maybe I could just like skip through it if I was reading it, but
I'll give you, they do a lot of achievements in the first book, but I feel like they spread it out a bit better throughout because he doesn't get as many achievements. Obviously,
yeah, well, he does, but he kind of just glosses over them. He's like, yeah, and I got a couple for this and this.
He
Nothing
points out, like,
big, didn't get anything good.
Definitely, if you don't have that kind of humor, you don't have raunchy humor, you're kind of going to be a little.
It's not the raunchiness. It's like the,
and you know, the jokes going too long, or
yeah, I'm not quite sure what it is. Like I would refer to it as like a millennial humor.
I can see that. Yeah, kind of like millennial or Gen Z or
like,
something.
Yeah, it's like a millennial cringe for me. Like I every time I hear it, I'm just like,
Lay
okay.
epic joke.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
But it actually was epic though.
The plot is like nothing crazy, but I thought it was really fun. All the characters are fun. They're all super. They all have big personalities. So I really enjoyed the ride. Once he got into it, is where I was like, okay, this is cool.
yeah. It does. Yeah, it takes a little bit, you know, start get going for him to start getting into like the more actiony scenes, more stuff like that. But
Yeah, once Donut gets a role,
yeah, once Donut gets
is where I was like, okay, this is cool.
It's good. No, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you're thinking about going into the next one.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna read it soon.
All right,
Go
Cody.
ahead, Noah. No, you know
Oh,
what? We'll
no.
save Cody. We'll save Cody.
No, I'll go.
You know, okay, all right, go ahead, Cody. Go ahead.
You know, I hate to be the party pooper.
Oh shucks.
I
every
can hear your
party's
smile.
every party's gotta have one.
Mm-hmm.
I did not really like the book.
Oh.
I didn't think it was very funny, and I didn't really find it that enticing. And you know, I hate to be the you know the naysayer, but I gave it a 1.5.
Wow. Okay.
1.5.
That's crazy.
Not even a 2.
I will say when I first finished it, I was giving it a 2, but I thought about it some more.
What the hell, man?
And I think for my scale, you know, for my historical scale here, I think it fits right in with a 1.5. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad book, but it's definitely not for me. So
what pulled it down? What specific thing like pulled it down so far?
I mean, the one, right, is just did not like it. And I mean, it's not trash, but it's not anything I would ever seek out.
The characters, the story.
A little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. I didn't find it, like I said, I didn't really find it that funny. And like, I would say I would find something tangential to, you know, the humor funny, but I don't know, man. It kept missing. I mean, there were times that I was, oh, like they might have one line or something. I'm like, oh, okay, they got me there. But for the most part, I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh my god, what am I reading?
I really think, not to say against you, but I really think this book is meant to be an audiobook. I don't think it's meant to be
I do think it
read.
really pulls it up.
Yeah.
The guy who does the voice is marvelous, by the way. The guy,
Yeah, what's his name?
Jeff Hayes, I believe.
Yeah, really good.
Did he do all the voices?
He did all the voices. He did even
Yeah.
the women voices.
I think that's pretty impressive. Some
Didn't
of
know
those
they were
voices-
women. I thought they were women, and that was him. He did every single voice in the book. And he's good.
Did anyone else read it, or did
I don't
everyone
think
else do
anyone.
audio?
I only read the first little bit. That's it.
Just
Yeah,
audiobook.
Okay.
So maybe
you're outnumbered now, Cody.
I was the only
this is
text guy.
yeah, this is an audiobook club now.
Sorry.
But I don't know. I just think this is more tailored to an audiobook experience. Maybe I think it started as an audiobook before it was actually like physically published. I don't know for sure, but
Yeah.
no, the guy does voice and is real good. He like does all the he's can change it up and all that shit.
There's like the twinge of like dark humor in there that I think he delivers really well, where he'll say something and he's just like, man, like, he'll be talking about a different crawler and he'll be like, man, she's probably the strongest crawl in the world. And then it'll be like, the world's gone now. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Noah, go ahead.
All right,
What'd you think?
okay.
Cody already hit me in the kidney. Go ahead.
So going in, I was like the opposite of Shawn, where like he didn't have any expectations. I had very high expectations for this book. It was on my personal to read list before doing this, and a lot of people who like the same books that I like also rate this very highly. So I was really excited to get into it. I hated it. I also gave it a 1.5.
Oh wow.
And if I had to do a whole number, I would go 1/2.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. This did not resonate with me at all. I found it very, very hard to get through. I was just waiting for it to be over so I could move on to something else.
That is
Well,
crazy.
Are you
well,
serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
What the heck?
We'll get into it, I'm sure.
Okay.
You
I can't believe
not
you're
enough
that.
carrots and snakes.
Wow.
I was really surprised too. Everything like was lined up for me to love this. I hate it.
You know what's
What
funny? You know what's actually really funny?
the heck?
The kind of humor I got out of this book is the exact kind of humor I hear a lot from Noah and Cody. So the fact that I don't like the kind of humor, it's like crazy to me. Because that's the shit I hear from you guys.
No, I think there's a little bit of nuance that he's missing here. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't believe you. God dang! I thought you would.
I know.
at least
I
liked it.
surprised myself. I surprised myself.
I mean, I wasn't expecting like out of the moon, but damn, I didn't
I
think that-
was. I was expecting this to be
Alright,
at
well-
least a 4 for me. I was kind of surprised.
God dang.
I
What'd you
I
give
had
it?
to
You
rip
gave
the
it a
band-aid
one-
off. I
You
had to
gave it
rip
a
the
one
band-aid
or
off for
you
you.
said 1.5?
1.5. If I had to do a whole number, it would be a 1.
What would you have to do? What would you give it, Cody? If you had to do a whole number, would you give it a 1 or a 2?
Well, that's where I was before. Like, I initially rounded up to a 2, but I'm rounded down to a 1.
Oh
Just
my
after
God.
reviewing.
2-1. That's crazy.
Pretty brutal, man.
I'm
A
in the
1.
same boat with Noah as like I expected it. I expected to like it. Like even if it's not like high quality literature, I at least expected it to be like funny to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just didn't find it funny.
Yeah, I
So-
think it was like some of the humor was funny, but it was just
There.
constant and nonstop
Yeah.
and like too over the top. I don't know.
No, I listened to it again, and I listened to the they have a dramatized version where they put like sound effects and music in it, and they got other people doing the voices and stuff, other than the main guy, and there were some jokes at times, and I was like, and I was like thinking about it, I was like, okay, that one was kind of cringe, that one was a little bit,
Yeah,
maybe that one wasn't that funny, but
yeah.
I don't. I don't look at the funny. I mean, I do look at the funny, but I also think it has maybe not the first one because I've listened to all of them, but I think it does the serious bits, and I like the overarching story of these giant alien corporations just doing whatever the fuck they want because they have money, and no one giving a shit when it's live streamed to like the whole galaxy. I just like that idea of it. And here's Carl, just doing what he can in the middle of this like, and it gets more in depth, and I think that's why I like the series a lot because they do this in depth giant corporate thing, and then they do a thing with like the AI or the AI in the game and the NPC characters because there's a hints of that in the first book where like the
Yeah.
NPC
Well,
characters are they're alive but they have rules and stuff like that, and
that's kind of the issue though, is it was just like hints of this stuff.
yeah.
And like I don't know. I mean, obviously it's setting up a series. Like I
Mhm.
think that was the whole point of the first book.
That stuff makes
Yeah.
me want to read it more
Yeah.
because
I-
you get, especially with the what's his name, the rat at the beginning.
Mordecai.
Yeah, Mordecai. His like lore is I found super interesting, and like those little just the moments where they pull you back to reality for a split second, where you're like, even though everything's ridiculous, you're
It's
like,
like,
damn,
dude,
like his life's over, the world is ended, and it's like super dystopian in a way, and then the cat appears, and then it goes back to the ridiculousness.
yeah.
So I think for me, that's kind of where the book fell flat. Is like the serious parts. That's what I needed for me to like the book, and I couldn't take any of it seriously.
God.
Like all the dark serious parts, it's like, well, one just the concept is like so. I can only suspend my disbelief so much, so it's like it needs to be grounded in a little bit of realism. But like I don't know, I couldn't take any of the serious parts seriously at all, and I think that's why I hated it. So everything just felt like, oh, the world's dying anyway. Here's cock blaster 9000 McGee gonna
I'm
shoot jizz on everyone.
I do that, and I'll give you that. I like the serious points. But I'm like, where it's like, oh yeah, you gotta have your realism. I'm like, because there's a part where Mordecai's like, he says some reference, and Carl's like, how do you know that reference? And he goes, well, we've been getting ready for this for 60 years or something like that, listening to
Yeah, he's like, I
TV.
know more
And I'm
about your
like,
world than you do.
and I'm like, that's enough for me. You're good. Just give me some weird science mumbo, and I'm like, I'm good. It's same as magic. It's all bullshit.
No,
Just give me some bullshit reason, and I'm like, I'm good.
I need
As long as
something
you
to
give me a
latch on
reason.
to, man. That wasn't enough of a reason for me.
And I think there's definitely the serious moments. Reading number 7, they still have their humor like that, which I like, and sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't. But I think the serious moments just increase tenfold because you're introduced to these characters and concept, and it's hard to be like, yeah, keep sticking with it because if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. But it really does, I think, a lot better throughout the series. But
I think I understand this is a controversial opinion, but I think the audiobook actually hindered this for me.
really,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
He did a great job, and I think he's a perfect fit for the book. But just having the whole thing narrated by Pronk from The Emperor's New Groove,
Yeah,
and
100%.
It does.
that didn't help the serious parts for me.
It does
That
throw
made
you
them
a little
worse.
bit. It does throw you. When I thought that too at the beginning, I'm like, oh man, it's fucking Joe from Family Guy. But I don't know. It grows on you. It does. You're kind of like, okay, that's Carl after a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that was a pretty good representation of like the way his character thinks. Where he's
Yeah.
kind of not dopey, but not like super in tune with everything around him. Where he's like not bumbling, but a little comedic relief, but he tries to be a good person.
Yeah, I think the audiobook just really nailed that, like kind of
Moment.
like that, not necessarily wacky, but
Yeah.
like
No, they go over the top
funny.
a
I
bit.
think they really nailed the funny tone, but that wasn't for me.
Oh, I thought they nailed.
I
I
need
can give
serious
you.
accented with funny.
I thought they did the series real good in the book. When I think Shawn mentioned. I don't know if he mentioned it now, but he mentioned before where like Carl's like having these these inner monologues with himself, like thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna fucking do this. You're not gonna fucking break me, blah blah blah. And I like that kind of shit. And then you got all these old people he's trying to help, and I'm like, oh man, I
The
don't know.
thing of him not saying like "you won't break me," that was, I feel like they left that kind of unchecked because I thought they were going to do something with that, and they don't really. He says it
You gotta
multiple
keep
times through
reading,
the book. Like,
Sean. You gotta keep
well,
reading the books, man.
the book should have, and that's
They,
why I didn't give it a 5. Because if it had a proper
they,
ending, I think I would have loved it like completely, and I would have been like, everyone needs to read this. But the fact that you're forced into a series is like, okay, well,
you are
let's see.
forced into the series. I'll give you that. It's like if you're, I don't know. Yeah, definitely. Well, spoilers. What was the cliffhanger? I don't remember. I don't remember. I thought they just went down to the floor.
Was it really a
Yeah,
cliffhanger? It was more
that's
just
it.
go
They-
to the next floor.
Yeah, they're on their way down to the next floor, and then the book.
Oh, that's. Oh,
They didn't wrap anything
they
up.
didn't wrap the whole thing up. Okay,
They didn't wrap
yeah, I guess
anything up.
No, no. You definitely got to keep reading if you want to see what happens. They don't. Yeah, they definitely don't tie it up in one bow in this one. But 7 books so far.
Are they still? Spoiler alert. Are they still in the same dungeon, like Earth?
You mean that?
I'm not gonna read anymore.
Sean was already
Other
reading.
people.
Yeah, don't spoil it for me. I'm
Okay,
probably
never
gonna
mind then. Never mind.
Yeah.
Disregard.
because I thought about that because when I was halfway through the book, I was like, "Oh, this is interesting," because I know there's more books.
They
And I'm like, I'm wondering if he triumphs and then he goes into another one, or he becomes an NPC. I'm like, there's so many different ways they could go, but then it ended on the 3rd floor, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is just probably a really long dungeon.
they introduce a lot of new people and a lot more like overarching plots, like big plots going on other than Carl's. And like they said in the 2nd floor, they like change up the dungeon floors from the first 2. They start doing like themes and stuff. So they start doing stuff like that. So,
Yeah, every 3rd floor is linked.
Yeah, every 3rd floor is linked, and then every floor, even just not every 3rd floor is it's not like the first 2 where it's just like plain hallways. They start doing stuff differently.
Did we only get the first 2 floors? I can't.
First 2
remember.
floors,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's on
What
his way to
the
3rd.
hell? They should have given me the first 3. And
Well,
then
and that's
just
the thing.
do them batches of 3.
Yeah, well, it sucks because they're like, oh man, when you get to the 3rd floor, a bunch of shit's gonna happen. So it's
Exactly.
kind of like, they're kind of trying, trying to get you there, but
Because I feel like if they would have done it in 3, I think I would have been okay. Because it's like, oh, that's the major checkpoint. But
from nah, never mind. I was gonna say how they structure it, but I won't say.
Yeah.
But no, definitely when they hit floor 3, it starts, I guess, picking up. And it's hard to say that because it's like, keep going, do it. The series gets better, but it's like you got to catch them on that first one. It's hard.
Well, I think if I gave it like a 3 or something, I'd be with you. I'd be like, all right, I'm down to read the other ones. But
I can't say the humor doesn't change. It's gonna stay like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like they do serious moments more than the first one. Because
It wasn't the number of serious moments. It's just the whole thing is so goofy. I can't take any of the serious moments.
Can I read you
seriously?
I
a
can
quote
because
here?
I'm like, it's all fucking bullshit anyway. Go ahead.
So I would just like to say, as I'm reading this, I don't know if you're familiar, but I'm doing an ebook like Kindle, so there's like popular highlights, and I swear, man, I feel like every time something was underlined, like, oh, popular highlight, I get to it, I'm like, wow, that is a terrible joke, and I'd like to read one here for you that I think sums up the humor.
Go ahead. There's some.
You don't need any context for this. I think this quote stands alone to really.
Is this from the book? Is this?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Did we really just start a meth war between the goblins and the llamas?
They do.
Yeah. How am I supposed to take anything seriously when that's every other line in the book?
I don't know. I just do because I'm like, it's absurd, but it's because these cunt bags are making it absurd.
That tone is what I don't like, but it's funny because that specific quote is one of the least offenders. Like some of them are much more cringe than that.
Yeah,
there's one where they like kill like the AI's like, oh, you just killed a bunch of babies or something like that, and
I was going.
They do some other fucked up stuff like that later on. So
I was just trying to
Pretty
pull
dark.
up the book and look at a popular highlight real quick, and a lot of them were underlining, and I didn't feel like reading the whole page. So that was the only one that had it.
Do you guys remember
Underlined,
the
so-
like the foot achievement?
Yeah, that.
I
and
feel like
then,
that's
yeah,
like
I
a joke
thought-
Cody would
it's
make.
well, then it's an
I thought that
overarching.
was
No.
a funny. Yeah, I thought that was a funny
The
joke.
the AI
Like-
having like a whole thing for feet was pretty funny.
Do you like how the AI is into Carl's feet
No,
and
I feel like that's kind of
I-
like the jokes you make though, Cody.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
no, I'm actually a foot
oh,
fetish normalizer, so I don't appreciate them reducing that too.
what'd you think of the cat? Like, did the cat throw you off? Where you're like, okay, you're giving me a fucking Marvel sidekick. You're like, no thanks. Did that, yeah, feel that?
Yeah, I don't
like the
really care
cat.
for the cat.
I like the cat.
I like the
Can I? I'd like to say
Maybe.
something real quick.
Go ahead.
I hated how he wrote every time a woman talked. It was terrible.
How did he write it?
I don't know the full context, but I remember when one of the admins is like talking to Donut, they're like, "Oh my god, bitch! Did you see Gossip Girl? Oh my god!" And it's like,
Oh, that was the
really?
interview.
I'm like, that's crazy.
Wasn't that an alien though?
Yeah, that
That
was
was
the
alien,
interview
yeah.
when they
Yeah,
their first
that
interview.
was-
I think.
That was their rep. That was their
The admin or
They're-
whatever.
Oh no, you're right.
that was their
The-
PR rep. That was Zeph.
The fish.
It was a Kuwait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were talking about I think they were talking about Gilmore Girls or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
And yeah, they're like, oh yeah, did you see this episode, and they did speak like that.
I was like,
They
really,
might
man?
speak like that.
Maybe,
I remember,
but
I remember
I
her
don't
saying,
know.
maybe she said bitch. I don't remember.
I don't know if she said
What
that either.
What do you
but-
think of the cat, Noah? What do you think? Did the cat throw you off? Were you like,
Uh,
were you like,
she's
you just
fine.
put it there, or was it just like they were like, this doesn't need to be there. I think they'd work
It's
off
fine.
well each other.
yeah. I don't think everything was fine, but the tone like really threw it off for me, and I couldn't take it
You-
seriously, which just stunk the whole thing into.
You get rid of alpaca, goblin, meth wars, and feet achievements, and it might.
Well, no,
might-
even that stuff, I think it's fine to sprinkle that stuff in. It's just the whole
just
thing
every
can't be
moment?
that nonstop if you want me to take anything seriously.
I'm all right. I'm all right with that. I still hit. If somebody dies, I'm like, fuck. Like it's like somebody I like.
I
yeah.
didn't care at all.
I didn't care
about
To be fair-
either.
to be
anybody.
fair, this is book one, so it's pretty hard
Fair.
to care about anything. But I don't know. I felt bad for those like old people. Like that guy pissing on the wall, and then it sent like a 90 level demon up there. I thought that was pretty
No, I
funny
don't know.
and intense.
Eh.
You didn't like that?
Actually,
Oh, man.
I like the
That
fight
was-
scenes. I thought the bosses were very creative. This book definitely assumes that you're in this world of video games and you know the lingo though,
Yeah.
True.
because they use a lot of video game lingo. And I was like, if anyone else that I know who reads books, like, they're not going to get this. Like, they're not going to understand what a lot of these words mean.
That kind of lingo is like I think a requirement to read this book. Like I don't think
Yeah,
you can
like you
read this
have
without
to
that.
have been playing video games for multiple years and like been online.
Yeah, I feel like it's not even just video games, just kind of like pulp culture,
Yeah, just like nerd
pop
culture
culture
and
in
stuff
general.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they use a lot of
I mean, it's more so video
like-
games for sure.
yeah, particularly MMO. They use a lot of like RPG MMO lingo.
Yeah.
Even like just stats, they're assuming you know what that means, right? Anyone
Mhm.
else is probably going to think statistics, which technically is what it means, but not really.
Also, text chat, typing in all caps, yelling, pretty good one.
Oh yeah.
That I thought was hilarious, actually. The cat, I think, is the most interesting character, but
I like the
also my
cat.
least favorite. On delivery.
I think that the cat is important because I think the book would have been worse if it was just Carl.
For sure.
I
Yeah.
do think.
No, I think
Yeah,
Agreed.
they're,
yeah, I
think they're
agree.
Good, they're good together. I think they're good together.
I was also like, I'm pretty curious as to whether like it's Beatrice is the girlfriend, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
That's his
Yeah.
girlfriend.
I'm like 90% sure she's gonna like be in this book
Ex-girlfriend.
series or something. Like she has to.
Oh
be.
yeah, there's no
They
way she
reference her
isn't.
too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do they? They don't reference.
Yes,
too much
she
in the
comes
book.
up
Yeah.
all the time.
It does.
Yeah.
It's not the
it was like
frequency
4
so
or
much
5
as the
times. I
pacing.
didn't think it was that
She
much.
came up a lot.
But it's yeah,
Because
she
it
comes
came
up
up in
every
the
few chapters.
show. Okay.
Yeah, there's no
That's
way
for
she
that.
doesn't make an appearance in the series. I refuse to believe it.
I'm not saying anything, man.
And they keep anticipating her as well.
Yeah, I'm
where
curious to see like what kind of role.
the cat's like, oh, is it her? And they do the same thing when they go on the
The talk show with the one
the
guy.
talk show,
The
the
douchebag show.
the goblin
Yeah, they
one.
go on the
Yeah.
douchebag show. Yeah.
Forget what it's called.
Glorp, glorp,
The-
glorp.
Yeah.
Gorp, gorp.
That was like some Rick and Morty
I
shit.
don't know. I just love these. I just love the idea of these like giant corporate alien TV shows who just don't give a fuck about humans and use them for.
I thought it was
money and
somewhat
manipulation.
topical.
I like the whole concept of like, what is it like at 3 a.m, basically like everything gets crushed effectively, and if you're
Yeah, it's
not
like playing
under, like if you're, what is it?
in a building,
If you're not outside.
If you're
not
not,
outside, basically.
you have to be not in cover to not basically get squished or whatever, and like be
Yeah.
consumed for like the whole
For the
dungeon
dungeon.
making machine.
Yeah.
And then like I think walking around like the remnants of that world, I like that. I think that seemed kind of cool. It was like kind of like apocalyptic and mysterious.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool to see more of that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like pre-dungeon.
I think that would have been cool.
Maybe you
and
have to read it,
had made
man.
if they had made that very serious, and then when they got into the dungeon, then it went and swapped into the more ridiculous. I think it would have made.
To me, it
I
I would
started
have
very
liked that a lot
mysterious,
better.
and I liked the mystery part of it.
They didn't start with like a lot of people in the dungeon. It was only like 10 million. And you'd think there'd be more than that. I mean, I
Well-
guess I don't know. I guess
It's
half
not.
the world's probably asleep in their building, but I
Probably
think they
more
only
than
had,
half.
yeah, more than half. But
It's a tough requirement because nothing has to be above you but the sky to not
I think they only
effectively
had so
die.
many entrances as well. I don't think they had a lot of entrances spawn or something like that. But
They talk
Yeah.
about the distribution because he asks the AI. I think the AI about how many people, or it might have been Mordecai,
from Mordecai,
because it goes down from 10 million to like 3.5 million or something very, very quickly,
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it starts to slow down from there after the first floor.
Yeah, I think it's inferred that there's more entry zones in more populated areas.
Yeah, that's what he says. He goes, "There's only 150 or something."
But no, it was
and
like
he's
tens
"There's
of
a lot here."
thousands, I think. But
Well, he said there's a small amount because Carl looks and he's like, "There's a lot just around me. How could there be only this many in the entire world?" And they're like, "Oh, well, certain concentrations are in these types of areas." And they kind of they try to explain it in the book to make it, I guess,
oh,
a little more believable.
dude, both my kidneys have been punched. I expected Cody's, but Noah, what the hell?
I didn't
did
expect
not-
it either, man.
I did not expect the kick from the nuts.
I
from you.
wasn't looking for it either.
I knew Cody's was coming, but man, no, I thought you were gonna at least be up here, man.
I thought I was
God.
gonna love it. I was let
Crazy.
down.
4.53 on Goodreads, man.
I
That's
know.
crazy to me.
63,000
very high.
ratings.
The last two books that we've read are like they're both in my top 5 like highest rated like average rating, and they both did not get very good ratings from me.
I gave you a 4 on Lonesome Dove, for God's sake.
Lonesome Dove is great.
It's a good book.
I like this one. I'll give you the first book.
It's the tone, man. I couldn't take it seriously, and I don't like it if I can't take
I'm
it
all right.
seriously.
If you can fucking make jizz jokes and still make me cry if somebody dies, I'm all right.
I agree. I agree with that. You just can't do nothing but make jizz jokes 24/7. You have
You
to
can
do
make
some.
jizz jokes 24/7. I'm good.
Oh,
I didn't find it that
I
raunchy
didn't-
or like explicit. Other than like
Well,
the
it's
yeah,
not
swearing,
necessarily
I guess.
jizz jokes, just the
Not just
type of humor. It doesn't. I don't care about the raunchiness at all. It's just it was so goofy that I can't take anything seriously at all. Like any serious part is just coattailed by some goofy ass shit happening right before it, and then some goofy ass shit happening right after it.
I think that's purposeful though. So that's more of a stylistic dislike.
Oh yeah, I agree. I just hate that.
Cody, what fun facts do you have for us this time? I know how much
I
you
don't have
fun.
any fun facts.
What the hell, man?
He doesn't have a wiki page,
You've
man.
been
He
doing,
doesn't-
you've been doing
Hey,
fun
Hey,
facts
any
for
listeners
people.
out here? Any listeners out there? Please make a wiki page for Matt Denneman. I will come up with a nice
You got a
little.
website.
I'll come
Matt
up with a nice
Dibman.
little
Or the
Matt
Denzel
burner
Washington.
in a
He's got
future
a-
episode.
He's
All right, here.
he's got a website.
I'll get to his website. Someone buy some time.
I'm going
Uh,
to it right now. He's
I have
got.
another complaint.
I don't know if-
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead.
Are we not buying time? Never mind. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say I can't find a bio. I found an about.
Okay, all right.
All right, here you go. I'll read the about, which is like 3 sentences long.
I'm
Matt-
looking at it right now.
Matt Dinneman is a writer and artist from Gig Harbor, Washington. He is the author of the best-selling Dungeon Crawler Carl series, along with several other books about the end of the world. He doesn't really hate Cocker Spaniels, and he plays bass in 2 bands.
Ooh.
There you go. He's got to ask me anything. He's got 48,000 members on his subreddit. What the hell, man?
No, people love his book. I mean,
like it.
what?
People like it.
No, people love it. Like
People love this book,
we-
man.
People do like this book. I like
So, spoilers, Noah did tell me how he was feeling early on. And we were looking to just see, like, overall, like, the general sentiment on these books. And
Yeah.
almost every single post I see is positive. Like, very positive. Like, people love this book and they love this series.
I do. I haven't seen shit.
Yeah, I know. So
I-
I don't like being in the minority. It's just that's where I ended up here. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I can see where you guys are coming from, though.
at least I got a buddy in the mud here with me.
Yeah,
I can't believe he's down there with you. That's crazy.
I wonder if I would have liked it if I read it instead of doing the audiobook, because the audiobook to me made it more goofy.
I don't.
I-
I
yeah, I
definitely
think
wouldn't
so.
have liked it as much if I read it.
I think it took
But
a
that's
joke,
that's
though.
the thing. Like the goofies, like is what was holding it back, or it was too goofy. If I read it, maybe that would tone it down a bit to
I feel
where I
like
could
if
take
you-
it seriously.
If you read it, the delivery would just be flat.
I think so too. Yeah, I think the guy knows how to deliver the lines well in the audio.
But he delivers it in a way that's too goofy, is what I'm saying. I don't like that.
But a flat joke
Well-
is just terrible, like with really poor
Yeah,
delivery.
but that's pretty funny.
What was your other complaint? What was your other downside?
Oh, yeah. This is a minor complaint. This isn't
Okay.
something I really care about, and this didn't affect my score at all. But
Oh,
I think
nice. Go ahead.
he's kind of just a bad writer. Like his prose is not good. There was a lot of instances where he just wrote stuff that didn't make
You-
any sense.
You don't like the moments where he goes, "Everything happened in a few seconds." He did that a lot, or he'll be like, "Everything."
Yeah. Well, stuff like that, and there's just a bunch of lines. I wrote a few of them down, and like I
Oh,
said,
man.
I don't. This actually isn't that big of a deal to me. I don't really care about this. It was just me being nitpicky. But there was one line where he said, "They won't be bothering us again," but he was saying it about some dingoes that literally never bothered them once.
They didn't bother that. See, they won't never bother him again.
Yeah, but you wouldn't say they won't be bothering us again if they never
No.
bothered you. There's another part where they made a bomb, and he like looked at the timer, and the quote was, "The timer was already down to 17 minutes, even though the timer had just started. Like it started at 17 minutes. Like if I put something in the microwave for a minute, I wouldn't say the timer is down to 1 minute. It hasn't gone down at all."
I don't think he said it. I think he didn't know how long the timer would be, isn't it?
No, it was literally the timer started at 17 minutes, and he said the timer was already down to 17 minutes. That was the quote.
I don't remember what that was for. What was that? What was
It's
that?
just a little thing. It's just like he wouldn't say that, or even if it wasn't. I don't remember if it was the narrator said it or Carl said it, but either way, you wouldn't write that. I don't know. And then the last one I have here. This one kind of pissed me off a little bit. So it's after they went on the first talk show.
Yeah.
Right before the talk show, the one lady comes in and is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's gonna be like this," and Donut takes the lead in the conversation because she's comfortable in show business, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's just the lady and Donut talking like, "Oh, will there be this? Will there be that?" And talking all the showbiz lingo, right?
Yeah.
And the lady specifically mentions that the stage is smaller than it looks. It's just an illusion. It's not an illusion, but a hologram or whatever. Like they're not actually in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And Donut was the only one participating in that conversation that was directed to Donut. Donut knows this as information. And then after the talk show, the one dude is talking to Carl about Donut's insane intelligence score. And he specifically says her like super high intelligence stat makes her memory better. And then the next sentence, Donut's like, "Oh, Carl, look, this room is actually smaller than it looks. Look, I can't go through this wall."
Yeah, but she goes on about like telling him what intelligence, like it doesn't actually show how smart you are.
Yeah, no, that's my point. He says explicitly, it doesn't say how smart you are, but it does do things like make her memory better. And then the next sentence follows it up with her not remembering that.
Maybe she's pretending to be stupid.
No, because they weren't on air. It was literally just Carl and the cat.
You never know, man. You never know who's watching.
Oh, I never caught that.
The book is riddled with little stuff like that, where it doesn't really matter, but there's so much of it. I just don't think he's a good writer.
I think
I really hope someone got fired for that blunder.
I don't hope anyone got fired for that. It's not a big blunder. Like I said,
Simpson guy, that's what you are.
I don't know. It's just little stuff where he didn't really think about it. He just wrote it, you know?
I never really noticed.
Coming off of Lonesome Dove, I found it extremely quick to read, like super easy.
Yes.
So,
I think it's
the fucking length.
No, but I mean, I blazed through it because Lonesome Dove took me way longer. Like it's a way longer book. It's like 3 times the size, but it took me like 6 times as long to read it because the pacing is very slow in Lonesome Dove, and I think it suits that book. But this one is blazingly fast, especially in comparison. So I think a lot of that stuff I probably overlooked because they were just moving on to the next thing one after another.
Yeah.
Don't you worry, Shawn, because each book after this adds like an extra 3 hours.
That's not that long.
That's another thing I kind of didn't like. Is it is very fast paced like that. I like really slow paced books where there's a ton of setup.
Book 7 is 28 hours long, by the way.
Like
Really?
if the entire first book was
That's
before they
brutal.
went into the dungeon, that would be perfect for me.
Let me look at that.
I was just looking at like books 2 and 3. I think 3 was about the same length, but I think 2 is a little shorter.
Yeah, two's the shortest one. Trying to look up.
I'm not particular to fast or slow, but going from one to the other is stark between those two. And
Yeah,
so it was kind of a nice switch.
These books are definitely like polar opposites in that regard.
Yes, almost
It's a
in
good
every
timing.
regard.
Yeah, book 1 is 446 pages. Book 7 is 724 pages. Almost like a 300 increase.
Okay, so it's only half the size of Lonesome Dove.
It is, but it's an
Lonesome Dove was
extra
what, 1,000?
990 something. I think. Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, it's almost. Yeah,
It's pretty
almost
funny because
half.
like it's like book 7 is like 14 hours longer than the first one. But wow,
I found it just reads really quick. He doesn't have a lot of flowery writing. It's very straight to the point.
But that is kind of just contemporary writing, though, isn't it?
For the
Not
most part, I
necessarily.
mean, it's like I feel like it's a lot more common in more modern books. I think just because it gets more people into it, right?
Right.
It's
appealing
lower
to a
barrier
larger
to
audience.
entry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It sucks to say this because I know I keep saying, "Oh, keep going with the series," but literally, I'm on book 7. I know I'm reading it, but everything the whole series is built up to is in book 7. Like I'm not even joking. Like everything.
Oh, until book 8 comes out.
Which
Does
I
he
think
have-
they are doing okay. But book 7 is like the pinnacle of all the things going in all other books.
Is there? Has he announced like when he wants to end it?
I don't know, but he did announce book 8, so.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know when he wants to end it, but they already have book 8 on his on the Dungeon Crawler timeline on Goodreads. So
Is it basically just like
2026 for that one?
like 1 or 2 levels per book?
Spoilers.
I'm not gonna say, Arjun. I'm not gonna say, but I'm just gonna say book
What if they get a
7
shortcut?
is probably the climax pinnacle of the whole thing.
They take the warp pipe at the end of
Yeah.
So you better read
1-2.
all the way up to book 7 at least to get it. It really does get better. It's such a bitch to say that. Knowing you guys, some of you didn't like it, but it really does get a lot better.
I don't know. I think whatever people's opinions are now is it's basically just gonna
Yeah.
that opinion is gonna get amplified if they keep going.
It will.
I mean, like I said, I think if I'm at a 3, I'm with you. You know, maybe even a 2. I'd be like, all right,
Nope.
I'll keep going. But
1.5.
I think I'm low enough that I'm
Bummer.
like, I don't think
Bummer.
I should. I really don't. But if I'm in Arjun's shoes, I'd probably keep going.
Nope.
I'm
John
curious.
going.
Like, I have a lot of questions about this world and the characters and where they'll all end up, but I don't know if I'll actually continue it.
I really liked the world. It gave me a lot of Ratchet and Clank vibes, which I think
Oh yeah.
I
I
really
love me some
enjoyed.
Ratchet and Clank.
I think one
'Cause
thing I.
it's-
Oh, sorry, keep going.
No, I was gonna say it's just similar in that vibe where each you get all the different aliens, the different worlds and stuff all coming together, but also the goofiness.
They give you like these weird ads for each planet or whatever in Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, it's like that consumerism
Yeah.
goofy.
That's what I think of these when I think of these books.
I think the aliens didn't feel alien enough to me. Like the whole
Yeah.
concept of them being aliens could be swapped out for just like a futuristic sci-fi setting.
You gotta keep reading, man.
Did they
Yeah,
say
or
how
it-
long they live? Like the fish people?
I don't remember.
I don't
I'm just curious.
remember. I don't think
they
so.
did.
Yeah, I don't think they mentioned it.
Like the sky people or the fish people. Like I don't know. Like these
They got the foul
these don't
people.
seem like alien races to me. This just seems like taking an animal.
Oh, I'm
Well,
sorry.
it's-
You got. You can say what defines an alien. You're the guy. You're the guy.
Yeah, I am that guy.
Well, the descriptions are coming from Carl's point of view, where he doesn't know anything.
Other than
Like
what
he's relating it to Earth things to make it make sense.
True, but they also don't
With
act.
the exception of Mordecai, whose whole thing is learning about Earth and trying to convey things in that sense.
I think their embrace of like the human pop culture also like very like unalienifies them as well. Like nothing feels alien about them to me, really.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the story, right?
Fair.
They do that purposely. I could see that going a different route depending on where the books go. But like their whole thing is like they study the planet, they try to make it as accessible as possible for whichever species are like home to that planet.
Well, and I think that they said that they seed it pretty much the same way, right? Like, because they've done this multiple times, and sometimes the humans are pretty much exactly the same as they are.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
act
do,
the
and they do a
same.
comparison to multiple humans from different worlds.
Yeah. And yeah, they use the word human, I think, right, to describe
Yeah.
it. So it's like it's the same, species essentially.
But then they're in like whatever it is, but kind of a simulation, I guess. And they say like, I mean, everyone can understand everyone's languages and things like that, so everything is homogenized purposely.
Fair.
I just like the foot jokes.
I found the foot jokes funny. The first one, I was like, okay, that's kind of cringe. But then when they kind of rolled with it, I thought it was good.
I like the absurd of it all. Is it retarded? Excuse me. I can say retarded now. That's allowed. Is it stupid? Excuse me. Is it moronic? I like that. I don't know. I just like how absurd it is. And yeah, is there serious moments embedded in this just stupid crap? Yeah, but I don't know. I just like it. I could see a world where people are that fucking disgusting and stupid and do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. And it's like, man, I'm the guy trying to get through all this, and Carl's just a simple guy trying to get through all this absurdity, and that's why I can feel for him. So I don't know. That's why I like it, I guess. But
I really enjoyed the goddamn it donut part.
oh yeah.
Well, I thought that was funny because I never caught on.
Was
You know,
there
say the line?
was there any moment that got a chuckle out of you, Cody, or Noah? Anything that was
I thought a lot of stuff was funny.
okay.
I didn't
Yeah,
think a lot was.
Was there anything that made you laugh, Cody? Anything or a chuckle? A smile?
I don't remember.
Anything at all that made you
I
go
didn't write it down.
ah?
Yeah, there definitely was at least a couple things I thought were funny and a couple things that were serious that I enjoyed. But it's just it wasn't the majority. I would say it wasn't even close to the majority.
What was something you liked of the book? Have you
I
said
don't
anything
know.
you liked? Give me something you liked at least.
I think I liked. I think I liked when they were fighting the eldritch horror. The tentacle monster.
Okay.
I thought that was kind of engaging.
The
I can't remember.
Karen or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, things like and like I don't know, like the one where they're like, "Oh, you just blew up a ton of babies, lol."
Yeah.
That was kind of like,
Yeah, but then later on, he
You
kind
like
of
that?
like thinks about it.
No, I did
Oh.
not. Go ahead, Shawn.
I think that's the serious part that I liked because they play that off as like a joke, and then afterwards he feels terrible, and then he continues back and he's just like, man, like we're all just killing each other, and they talk about like the first boss they do is the Spanish woman, and she's like actually afraid,
Right.
and he's like they have no choice but to kill her. Like that
Oh,
was
yeah.
I like that
kind of
actually.
like
That was so
yeah, it was like
morbid,
super
dark.
rooted in realism, but it was absurd still. And then like they finish with it, and he feels horrible, but he's like, what else do you do? He like had to kill this other person that was clearly someone from Earth transformed, and then they go back to the cat talking and making jokes.
Yeah, it's not that I think it's like tasteless or anything. It's just it doesn't have any sort of impact. I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted that stuff. That's like the only stuff that maybe could have got me into it, but I didn't care about any of it at all.
I think that's what kept me going. Is like I want to know more about the world.
Yeah, that
I want to
too,
know
yeah.
how it works.
It definitely hooked me to read more. I want to see him go down to these floors that they keep talking about. I want to see, they're like, oh, you get to pick a class and blah blah blah, and then they talk about the ninth floor, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see what's going on there.
Yeah.
So
They do that with Mordecai too, where they come
yeah,
back for the second time, and he's like drunk on the floor or whatever.
Yeah, you want to hear
Like-
more about him, and I'm like, I want to hear more about all these fucking people.
Yeah. I mean, floor 2 being essentially the same as floor 1, and that's all you get in the first book is, I don't know. I mean, I would be interested too in just like knowing like what's going on. Because obviously, like I said, it's the whole book's just setting up for other books, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't really care to do it.
I feel like I would love this book if it was written by someone else and had a different tone.
Here's
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it.
I was trying to look at like 1-star reviews. Can I read this 1-star review for you that I found?
Yeah, go ahead.
I really tried to make it through this one, but gave up 80% in. It's written for a very specific audience, mainly guys who like D&D, fighting, and weird sex stuff.
Basically.
There you
I didn't
go.
pick up on much
I
of
feel
the
like
weird
that's
sex stuff.
somewhat accurate.
I feel like the author hates women. If I could give this 0 stars, I would.
Really?
I feel like
I didn't pick up
feel
on
like
that.
he hate. Maybe he did the bitch thing or whatever
Whoa.
Cody said, but I don't think I didn't get anything like that.
Maybe
I wasn't
to
looking
me,
for
it felt like the book was written by your stereotypical incel kind of guy.
Would have enjoyed if making fun of women's bodies was peak humor to me. What? Oh, I guess okay. He did. Like the one lady at the beginning.
I think
was
there's definitely like a lack
ugly
of
something.
good female characters for sure in the book.
There's Donut.
Yeah, but she's a fucking cat though.
It's a cat.
It doesn't
It's a
count.
female cat. What is the
Nah,
difference?
it doesn't count.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a cat. It's
Oh.
literally a cat.
Yeah, what is it talking? It talks. It can't be a positive women influence.
I don't think it's a positive one though.
Well,
Why
I mean the
not?
character is good itself.
Yeah, it's definitely like a trope.
It's like ditzy and like I don't know.
Like you know how like Carl has like to some
Yeah, but she's shooting lasers out of her eyes. That's not positive.
There's no
It's
depth
not
to it, though.
character. That's just her move.
Like
Oh,
a
yeah,
character
but
with like
Yeah,
actual
magic
depth.
missile. Everyone's gotta have magic missile
empowerment.
if you reference D&D.
There probably is like characters like that though. I'm assuming down the series, if I had to guess. If there isn't, that'd be interesting. But I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that the lady in the nursing home group, I can't even remember her name right off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there's probably something there. But she doesn't talk like hardly at all. So
Yeah, You definitely either like this one or you don't. I don't think there's any in between for this one. I don't think there's anybody's like, yeah, you know what, it was eh. I think you either don't like the humor and you think it's that, or you're like, I'm buckled in. Let's have a good time. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a couple different types of humor. I'm not a fan of the raunchy type humor, but I did like those little dips into realism and then coming back out of it.
If you don't like raunchy or dark humor, you're probably not going to enjoy this book.
If
I
you
didn't
don't
actually
like
pick
that
up much
humor, you
raunch.
won't like the book for sure.
Yeah, if you don't like that humor, you're not going to like this book.
Can I give an example of a book with raunchy and dark humor that I did like?
Go ahead.
For anyone that's out there like me,
Yep.
read Candide by Voltaire.
Oh my god.
Dude, why do you keep giving me books from like the fucking 1800s?
This is from the
It's a
French
good one,
Revolution, isn't
man.
it?
It is raunchy and it is dark.
Yeah, I also like raunchy and dark humor. This
It's got a
was not the book.
3.7
Yikes, imagine.
on
It
Goodreads.
stood the
You think
test of
that's
time.
beating my dungeon crawler, Carl?
Not for average rating, no, but it's a good one.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like,
Give
if
it
I
a-
want a shot
Gave it
sometime.
a fucking 4 stars. I did not laugh once. I do not engage with stories that are simply allegory to represent a philosophy. I want a little bit of substance. I want some storytelling involved, Cody. Says this one review for Candid.
I didn't say okay.
call it a product of its time if you like, but laziness is a word that comes to mind. I won't waste any more words here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm not saying I didn't laugh at Dungeon Crawler, Carl.
You know, I expect this from Cody, but Noah, I'm devastated. I'm devastated
man.
over here.
You-
I'm fucking gone.
Are you impressed he kept it locked?
I
know,
am.
I wanted
thought
it to be a surprise for you. I wanted to
I
go
thought
last.
he gave it 4 stars. I thought I saw like a spoiler on Goodreads when I was scrolling through it. I thought I saw Noah give it 4 stars. I'm like, goddamn right. And then here he is, fucking kicking me in my nuts. It's a 1.
Yeah, I
Ron's
think
my
I just
favorite now.
hate him as an author. I think that's it.
Wait, don't read his 6 other books.
I won't.
I do want his wiki page updated though, so if someone in the audience could do that for me, that'd be
But
great.
you
Yeah, get on the.
gotta admit, audio guy's good. He does a good job. The guy who does the voices.
Yes, he did a great job. I didn't like it. Not for me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Same with the book. You know, I'm sure it's great. Everyone loves
There
it.
you
Not for me. Didn't like it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not being an objective book critic here.
You seem to be though every time.
Oh
It
no,
seems to be the case.
that's the whole point. That's the whole point of our
Dungeon
rating
Crawler Carl,
scale.
1.
Is it's our personal, feelings towards the
Well,
books.
you
and we
seem to be
finish
going
it.
against the grind every time, my man.
Just two.
My ass. What was fucking? Oh, I'm on the Book of 5 Rings.
No, I didn't give it that good.
What was that bullshit?
What?
Fucking
I mean, there.
3.96.
I
You gave
didn't.
that a 10.
I did not give it a 10.
What'd you give that?
All right, if we're gonna litigate my rating history, hold on, let me pull it up
All
here.
right, he gave it 2. All right, I'll hop
Yeah.
on cock. I'll hop on. Well, you better write a book. Like I said, write a book.
No, I
we
don't want to
can
do
play.
that. No.
That'll be our next club, book writing club.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. Anything else to add? I think that was a good spiel. Any final comments?
No, I'm excited to keep going. I want to know
I'm
more about
excited. One person is actually continuing. I'm glad.
I might continue it, but maybe not
You let me
yet.
know. My ass. You fuck. Don't even be a poser.
I gave it a 3. What do you want from me?
Get to the 1-star club if you're gonna do anything. I would
What?
respect that
Fence
more
center, fence center.
than the 3 that you gave.
Oh my god. I like the
Three's
comedy.
a good rating. Three's a good
You
rating.
like the comedy.
I like the comedy. I like the mystery at the beginning, and then
but
the
you
fight
hate the
scenes.
fighting.
Couldn't stomach really reading the fight scenes.
How do you like the Kraken?
I like the boss
apparently?
designs.
The Crack Karen.
like the old
Why'd you
woman.
like the Crack Karen so much?
I didn't love it, but
Or is that one of your
it was. I think I can't remember. It's been a little while
Mhm.
since I finished the book, but I think it was a little more heartfelt. Like he was like,
More
"Oh man,
heartfelt.
I'm gonna die," and
Oh,
dang
yeah.
nabbit, because
Well, Donut was gonna die in that. Almost died in that one, I think too. Didn't they blow up or something?
yeah, well, he threw a bomb, and then they put up like a table, and then he
Yeah.
just covered
Oh,
the
yeah.
cat.
You don't like that? They're like, yeah, that's another video game thing. They're like
Oh,
doing
I-
exploits and stuff like that.
Oh, that's another thing I didn't like is
No.
every time they had like a boss, it's just
Yeah.
like they just
Figure out how
come up
to-
with a strategy off screen.
Well,
It
they're
was like,
fucking people. They don't want to die. Oh, okay. Well, off screen. Okay.
yeah, they just show up and like,
They-
oh, here's the strategy we thought of off screen.
I agree.
Uh,
They did the one boss with the tables and they built the fort, and they went into that boss and they're like, "Yeah, we practiced this." I'm like, "When?
Yeah.
You didn't mention this until now." in the
But see,
book."
would it have been less impactful though, knowing exactly what they were going to do before they just like ran in?
I don't know. It just
And
felt
then
like
just
he just kept doing the same thing. He did it like 2 or 3 times where they
Yeah.
just show up. It's like, all right, this was our plan we came up with.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the book, Noah? What was your favorite part? Or a
Probably like
highlight?
the world building, I guess.
The world
Like if
building?
you write this book but write it as serious as possible, like still all the same goofy shit happens, but you write it straight, I would love it.
How do you write it straight but still have the
Well,
That's
jokes
the-
in it?
I think
uh,
I would have given it a 5 out of 5 if they wrote it with a serious tone, with the same goofy stuff happening,
yes.
and then Carl being completely dumbfounded every time, being like, "What is going on? How is this happening?" and him trying to figure it out, as opposed to him embracing the goofy. And I get what they're going for, because he's played video games and he talks about it in his past. He's played D&D, so he's like, "Oh, I can do this." Like, I see what he wants to do with that, but I would have much preferred a more serious tone.
Well,
Yeah, you make this thing serious, 5 out of 5, like Shawn was saying.
heartbroken. Heartbroken. I would have loved to see Sterling read this. That bald cunt. He probably would have been with you guys.
I think you would have
totally.
liked it.
My ass.
yeah, I'll
Cody
state
was
for the
all-
record that we did have a DNF, so
Yeah,
that's
that's why
good
Sterling
on
isn't
our
here.
side.
That's a
Yeah.
1 as well, technically, right?
How
One
far did he
is
get?
That's a
DNF.
0.
He got 5 pages in. That's how
I
far
thought it
he
was
got.
4.
Actually,
4. Yeah.
I don't know if it was actually 5, but it was.
To
He
be
said it was
fair-
5. He said 4 or 5.
Okay.
I'm committed to reading them regardless. So,
Yeah, because we're
had
not
I-
assholes.
had I not
is the
committed
part-
to reading it, I probably would have done the same.
This is the
Because
part of
the first chapter, I don't like it at all. That's the worst chapter.
No, yeah.
Wild.
He probably heard me talking about it, and he's like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah,
reading
this
this.
is the part of the book where we shit on Sterling, or the podcast where we shit on Sterling.
How dare you not show
Yeah,
up?
fuck Sterling.
And fuck Sterling. He's like, I read 4 to 5 pages. Give me the audiobook. And he's like, I'm done. As soon as we gave him the free audiobook. And as you
At
can notice,
least finish the chapter.
you notice he wasn't in the last one either. Dumb
Oh, he
bitch.
said TLDR at the end. That was
Yeah.
his review.
That's called being a dumb cunt, autistic. There you go. I'm allowed to say that. All right. Okay.
All right.
No, are we
There
getting
you
so
What's coming
four-
up next?
4.5 for me, 4 for Shawn, 3 for Arjun, and 1.5 for Cody and
Yep.
Noah. All right.
Yep.
The
go
first
ahead,
chapter is
Noah.
only 9 pages in one sentence.
Yeah, and he didn't finish that. Yeah, he's a bitch. And that was Sterling Cut Corner. That's why we called it the Cut Corner in the first podcast. Go ahead, Noah. What do we?
Oh yeah, what's wait,
Hit it
any what's next on the docket?
Oh yeah.
Well, up next,
Go ahead. I'll
Yep.
go sulk over here.
we got mine. I put it to a poll, and the winner is "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?" Sometimes also referred to as Blade Runner by Philip K. Dick.
Well,
I love Dick.
I'm just surprised this book was made in the 90s and not 500
Uh,
BC.
bad news for you. Bad news.
Or 60s, 19.
Yeah.
I meant 1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a book fucking wrote on a wall. Oh yeah, no, it was written on the wall, so you should know what it has some kind of meaning behind it because they fucking took their shit out of their ass and put it on the wall. That means something. That's Cody's books.
Yum yum.
I'll probably like. I think I moderately like this one, but I could be wrong. Who knows? It might piss me
Yep.
off.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm loving it. I don't know the premise of the book. I haven't had any experience with this. So
I don't know much about it, but isn't it basically the
It's basically the movie.
like the Lord of the Rings for cyberpunk?
I have no idea.
It's like what?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of
Uh,
the OGs of that
Yeah.
genre.
I've watched the movies and I like the movies. Hopefully I like the book. As long as the narrator audio guy doesn't sound like he's sniffing farts out of his butt, I'll be mildly happy. 'Cause that's how it sounded with fucking Journey to the Center of the Earth. No, you know what? I like that was oh, what the fuck was his name? Actor guy. I liked him, but I don't know. I'm worried.
Yep.
I'm
It's
worried and
a
I'm
very short
heartbroken
book.
and everything sucks and I'm sad. Except Shawn. Shawn's my new favorite. He's always the goat.
Blade Runner is very short, 250 pages.
It is.
Oh yeah, Cody loves picking the short ones, which
You're welcome.
that's fine.
You're welcome.
Mine
I'm
wasn't
okay
that
with that.
bad. Well, I stuck to the under 500
no,
rule. It was
That
450.
wasn't too bad.
You never offer series books though. I'm a big series guy. You know, you're not.
Who, me?
Yeah, where's your series?
Yeah, because you're gonna give it a 1, and I'm saving you the hassle of getting into it.
Yeah, I'll probably give it a 1, but at least
Yeah,
give
you're
me a
welcome.
series. Do you have any series? What's a series you like? Other than Lord of the Rings.
I
The
got Dune
series.
on the shelf. I haven't read past
Oh,
book
here we
1.
go.
But... What
You
do you mean?
hate everything, but Dune's fine. What the hell's that about? Come on.
I still have to read Dune.
Sterling watched Dune on the airplane. He fell asleep. When we
Cody,
go to
didn't you
Japan.
read Song of Ice and Fire, or mostly?
Yeah, well, I've kind of stopped that. That's for another
Another
book
a-
recording.
a podcast in 2
Okay,
years.
alright.
No.
All right. No, we got. Do androids dream of sheep?
Electric Sheep.
Electric Sheep.
Excuse me, electric sheep, aka Blade Runner. That's how it is on Audible. It says Blade Runner when you type that in. So that is the version I'll be reading. Arjun will be reading the YouTube version where the guy sounds like he's having a stroke. All right.
Alright.
All right.
Better down.